What's happening, YouTube? It's your boy Jeffro coming at you with another Escape from Tarkov video. First of all, I can only apologize about the way that I sound. I might be snuffling and stuff like that. I'm not very well at the moment. But yeah, let's jump straight into this video. We have the results. The results are in for the in-game survey around the flea market. This has been a massive controversial topic since it was first brought up at the beginning of the wipe of flea market being locked for almost, it was 4 weeks, I believe, right? To them putting the in-game poll in, the Twitter poll, and now we have the results. Now, disclaimer, BSG have said that the findings below are not including exact numbers yet, but they're going to try and reflect the percentage distribution of the players who voted. So these numbers, taken with a little bit of a pinch of salt, but they do give us a bit of an understanding of how the player base is thinking, or we thought. So, straight off the back, we're going to question one. There's already controversy around it. It's wild, right? Tarkov, controversy, people complaining. There's a surprise. So, this question is very misleading, and the results are very misleading, and we'll jump into what they are and why. So, the first question was, do you find Escape from Tarkov gameplay more engaging when the flea market closed? I mean, I'll be honest, these numbers actually kind of wowed me. I expect them to be a lot closer than what they are, but almost 50% of people said yes, and almost 32% of people said no. I expected the no to be a lot closer to the yes, I'm not going to lie, and then there was around about 20% of people that said they were unsure. Now, why is this first question in controversy already? Well, looking at those results, automatically, as you've read it and see the results, you would expect that almost 50% of the player base would not want the flea market, right? And only 32% of the player base are for the flea market. No. This doesn't reflect the actual player base wanting the market or not. Actually, that stat is nowhere in these results. Nowhere. Now, if we go back to the Twitter poll, it was almost a 50-50 divide. Having the flea market in game won, but it wasn't by a landslide, it was by a few percent, right? But on Twitter, Appleizer has come out to state that the player base that want to keep the flea market in the game is significantly greater than the player base that doesn't. That is to be said. We don't know what the exact number is for people wanting to keep it in, but Appleizer has given us a stat that only less than 10%, or it was either 10% or less than 10%, are wanting to get rid of the flea market. Which is wild, right? If you take in consideration this stat here, and then the 50-50 split on Twitter, we don't know the exact amount of how many people are unsure, or the answer no is. So it could potentially be a lot closer. It could be like, I don't know, 10% are for it going, 15% are for it not going, and then 75% are unsure, right? But the only stat that we have in regards to people wanting to get rid of the flea market, as you can see in this tweet here from Appleizer, is that it's 10% of the player base want to get rid of it, right? Which is wild. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. And what are your thoughts? Do you want to keep the flea market? Would you rather, get rid of the flea market? Let me know below and we can have a look at that. So moving on to question 2. Now, I believe not all the questions are in here, but there is 3 questions in total. And I'm sure there was more than that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But questions 2. And these stats are quite surprising, to be fair. Some of them are what I expected them to be and where I expected them to be, like at the top of the pile. Other ones I kind of expected to be there, but were a lot lower, or vice versa, right? So question 2, what major challenges did you face when the flea market was closed? Well, inevitably, keys were a massive hot topic, right? Trying to progress with quests, getting access to keys and stuff like that. That was always going to be number 1 on the list. Requirement to find founding raid items for hideout upgrades. Now, this is something that people haven't really spoken about, or I haven't personally come across. I think the first couple of days people were frustrated, but then it kind seems to have died down with all the controversy around the actual flea market itself at the moment. I know a lot of people that are struggling to upgrade the hideouts and stuff like that because they're having to find items found in raid. Now, something that's very interesting, which actually come to vision yesterday, is not every item has to be found in raid to be able to upgrade the hideout. Most notably, on Intel Level 1, the map that you require, the factory map, doesn't have to be found in raid. You can actually buy that from the traders and utilize that. So that's something to know, chat. Sorry, chat, I mean YouTube. But yeah, these stats are kind of self-explanatory. Obviously, the keys are way ahead at the top with 26%. Found in raids around about 20%. And then we have them, from that point on, the next three are very close together, and then it just kind of drops off drastically, right? And I think more of this is just because, people probably haven't, I think the didn't play when the flea market was closed goes hand in hand with did not encounter any issues, right? So I think those stats really are irrelevant. But yeah, these are just kind of everyday quality of life things, right? Being able to purchase equipment items, difficulty completing in-game quests, inability to craft certain items, medicine and ammunition, right? Apart from completing in-game quests, which I don't really know, apart from the keys, what items you may buy from the flea market, unless it's equipment items for certain gun builds, for your gunsmiths, or completing certain tasks like test drive, or stuff like that. But yeah, so they kind of all go hand in hand. The more kind of quality of life, issues, but it's a very low number. I anticipated the medicine and ammunition, I'll be honest, and equipment and items to be a lot higher than what they are. So then we move on to question 3. And what changes would you make to the flea market system? I was kind of surprised with this, if I'm honest with you. The leading stat here is that almost 30% of people are satisfied with the current flea market system. I didn't expect that. I expected that to be a lot lower. I expected there to be a lot more variation with the other answers opposed to keeping the flea market system the same. So, for example, I expected allowing listing items found in raid status to be, above the 20%. The same with remove all restrictions on listing the items of flea market. I expected these two primarily to be neck and neck and a lot higher in the percentage, right? Introduces specific operating times for flea market, e.g. weekends only, is very kind of low, 12%, and then we kind of go, it's everything's above 10% though, so people are still kind of wanting this, right? Limit the items available and listed on the flea market. Allow listing offers only for barter trades, again around about 11 to 12% on those. For me personally, the changes that I would make to the flea market right now primarily are just two. Number one would be removing level 4 trader items. I don't see the point in grinding traders up or the value of traders if you're just applying max level trader items on the flea market. For me, that devalues traders and devalues questing and the need to grind them up, right? And the second would be keys. I don't think that you should be able to use a key and then resell it. It makes no sense to me. That takes away a massive kind of value from keys. Keys don't hold the same value as they did before. And that decision of being able to be like, do I keep the key and potentially run it like a marked room key or something like that? Or, like a 220 West or your like 118s or 112s in thingy, or your reserve RBSTs, these sort of quests, these sort of keys, do I run it or do I sell it, right? And I think by allowing people to utilize it, have like say 5 use on a marked room key and going, the RNG on this is pretty bad, I'm not getting anything on it, but I can still pull like $1 million away from it by reselling it with 5 uses left, I think is ludicrous. So they're the two core changes that I would personally make to the flea market straight off the back. Let me know in the comments what you think and what changes you'd like to see in the flea market, and if you agree with what I'm saying or not. Everybody has an opinion. But yeah, they're the only 3 questions we got. Now, I'm pretty sure there was a few more questions, but we don't have the results of those. We only have the results of these 3 core questions. So yeah, that is it for the survey results that we've got in. Like I said, take them with a pinch of salt, because these are not, BSG have stated that they don't include the exact numbers, right? They're just kind of like an overall percentage. And plus also, for example, like I was saying about the first question, it's very misleading. And it's actually only 10% of the player base that want the flea market to be removed completely, according to Appleizer, who is the community liaison for BSG. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that bell notification. And don't forget to comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are, what you think. And I will catch you on the next video. So until next time, bye-bye.